customary beyond the arc to fake a defender into the air and then step into a mid-range two, but Curry has introduced that more efficient sidestep for the wide-open three.
From deep. No good. And it's Dallas the other way. Clark, some tough offensive sets. They want to turn it around.
Yeah, they need a basket just to regain some momentum here, Kevin.
Fast break, Minnesota. And he's going up for the alley-oop. Ball's knocked loose and taken away by Roy. Fast break, Dallas. Hawkins shot good.
That's how you make it happen, guys. Ball pressure and then a run out.
And that's how you flip the script in terms of momentum right there.
Curry kicks to Garnett. Nice ball movement by Minnesota. To the inside. Here's O'Neal. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot two.
Wow, he got whacked on that one. Shouldn't be much debate there.
Blatant contact. Straightforward call. Simple. Well, you know, the Mavs made the playoffs last season, but they really had a hard time against the rest of the Western Conference contenders, in part because they struggled defensively. Offensively, they were pretty good, but they didn't quite come up with enough stops when they needed.
Looking at who's out there now for the Mavericks. Andrew Bynum's checked in for B. Moncrief comes in for B. And B's subbed in for Hardaway. And so it's Dallas with him. After the basket by Minnesota. Aldridge a screen. Knocked away. Here we go, one-on-one. And Magic Johnson the bucket on the assist by Nance. Johnson's got his first points of the game. And what's your take, guys, on the hustle steps for Minnesota?
Well, I think the defensive aggressiveness on display here has caught them off guard, playing airtight defense and coming up with the steals.
Yeah, and one thing, Clark, I've noticed is how quick their hands have been tonight. Thanks to that, they've gotten a lot of points off of turnovers.
And Dallas calls their first time out of the game. And Greg, you talked about what the Mavs did, how they played against the West, 29-23 record against the rest of the conference.
Yeah, but Kevin, it's a little misleading, the win total. I mean, if you look at the Mavs against the teams that they compare themselves to, which are the playoff teams in the West, they were only 10-18 over the course of the season.
Good point. Now here's Johnson. Tiny, the pass to Johnson. Now the Mavericks moving it up. Out to the right wing. It's a pick by Bynum. Fleming the pass to Bynum. And two free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there. They get Jermaine O'Neal.
I mean, even from over here, you can see that one pretty clearly.
No question about it, Greg. I mean, a ton of contact and a good call by the officials.
And he sinks the second. First quarter of play and just over 3.5 minutes in. Johnson dishes to Wilkins. Bynum with the steal. Here's Fleming. Here's Hawkins. Fleming the pass to Aldridge. Shakes off the strong D and gets the bucket for two. Aldridge has got his first points of the night. Here's Archibald. And Steph Curry, a player within the gym range. He told us about his
Anywhere 5-6 feet outside that three-point line if I have a dribble or if I can.
I was going to say, Greg, how big must that hoop look to Steph Curry? And tough to guard might be the understatement of the day.
I mean, he is just an insanely great shooter. I mean, arguably, I don't think there's an argument. He's the best shooter in the world. The argument is whether or not he's the best shooter ever. And listen, I can imagine there's very few times that Coach Curry is not going to allow this splash brother to let her rip.
All right, the second quarter beginning in just a moment. And what do you guys think about Minnesota here in this one?
It's just been a long-range battle for them and one that they're winning right now.
Yeah, sharp shooting from deep, a big part of why they're up.
On the court for Minnesota, we've got B. Klay Thompson is out there with Steph Curry. And it's Garnett, and it's O'Neal in at the 5, roaming the paint. and then jammed down as he goes right over Andrew Bynum.
And nobody, guys, among the defenders stepping up to challenge him on that drive to the 10.
And Greg, he says, thank you very much, and sails in for the flush.
And those are the kind of sequences that tell you why the score is what it is.
And that was Kia bringing you the close-up on the big-time play. A young team trying to find their place in the league can have it tough on the road, Clark, and the 2015 Timberwolves typified that sentiment.
In spades, 7-34 on the road last season. Dead last in the West as they won only 3 road games against the rest of the conference.
Hardaway with it. Picked up by Thompson. Out that one in, and the Timberwolves lead is cut to just 9 points on the basket from Penny Hardaway.
Just such a well-rounded offensive player. He's got a little bit of everything.
It's now been a decade since the Minnesota Timberwolves played postseason basketball. Last trip to the postseason for the Wolves back in 2004.
Wow, that was a long time ago. And if you're wondering, that is the longest playoff drought in the league currently. Wolves want nothing more than to get back to playing playoff basketball, and featuring the #1 pick in last year's draft will help.
Good way to start, you're right. Mikan, a rebound by the Timberwolves. Quarter number 2, we're about 2 minutes in. McGrady kicks to Garnett. The Timberwolves working the ball around now. Now the dish to O'Neal. Nice fake, but the layup off the mark.
And, you know, even though the Wolves have been out of the playoffs so long, you get the sense it won't be too much longer. They've got a really nice core to build around, and I think could be special, especially Andrew Wiggins.
LaMarcus Aldridge, he's checked in for the Mavericks. B comes in for Hardaway. And then for Minnesota, Harry Nance is checked in for O'Neal. And it's Johnson in for Klay Thompson. And that one's good. McGrady.
And he could be the guy to put this game out of reach.
Mavericks trail by 11.
And as you mentioned, the Wolves could be back in the playoffs in due time. They are headed in the right direction. Some mistakes have been made along the way, but you have to like their future now.
Wilkins is checked in for Minnesota. Tiny comes in for Eric Bledsoe. To the middle, here's Roy, and he banks in the layup.
They've done well at taking advantage of some late defensive rotations and getting the ball into the paint.
Clearly, they've been the aggressors thus far when it comes to attacking the interior in this first half.
Over to the wing. B, the pass to B. 50 seconds left to play in the first half.
You're not going to see that very often. Plenty of space, but he just, let's face it, he whiffs on that.
Tiny, the pass to Garnett. Here's Tiny. Back to Nance. It's Wilkins on the wing. 4 on the clock. Here's Garnett. That's short off the rim. Mavericks trail by 9. 17 seconds left in the first half. Here's Mikan, and he jams it with authority.
You know, he's not your typical NBA center in terms of height, guys, but he plays as big as any of them, thanks to his incredible bounce ability. Taking it to the rack with power right there.
And hammering down with the two-handed slam.
Just piling on the lead with the dunk like that.
Here's Aldridge, the turnaround jumper. Count it. Aldridge has got his second bucket tonight.
He has such a nice touch for a big man.
Yeah, and they've got to figure out a way to get a bigger body on him, because if they don't match up his size, then he's going to continue to work him over the rest of the game.
And the teams are going to have to wait before heading to the locker room. They're going to bring out the monitor and see if he got that shot off in time.
And honestly, guys, in real time, I couldn't really see whether he got it off in time. But with the benefit of replay, it seems pretty clear that the clock expired just before the release.
And you know, as a player, you're aware of that clock ticking down on you. But within that last fraction of a second, it's really hard to know when you're focusing on your release and the defenders if you waited just a split second too long.
Well, the ruling is in, and the call stand, and we finished one half.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here again with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny. It's Minnesota out in front at the half. They have a nice 7-point lead. Shaq, let's get your opinion on their game so far.
Well, the shots were dropping for them. I mean, they was just dropping out of everywhere, dropping out the ceiling, dropping out the popcorn guy's man's hand, whatever. It didn't matter what the defense was. They found a way to get a good look almost every time. They just got to be patient, take as long as they need to keep finding those high percentage shots.
And over to Kenny. Let's get your insights on Dallas.
Well, right now, they're getting a little embarrassed on the defensive end. They got outshot in the first half. But that's because no one put their foot down on defense to stop it. So in the second half, they need to play much more disruptive defensively. They have to do whatever it takes.
That's going to do it for now as the second half is just about.
And the third quarter about ready to get underway. Klay Thompson with a strong contribution so far in this one.
And even though the defensive pressure and attention was squarely on him in that first half, yet he's still able to be the most effective player on the floor.
But for him, Greg, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, we don't expect anything less, and I'd bet he has even more in store for us during the stretch run.
Hawkins is out there with LaMarcus Aldridge. Then there's B. Then there's Hardaway. And it's B in at the 5 spot. That's the lineup in the game for Dallas.
You know, there's no better sign of how efficiently a team is operating than their assistants. Sublime stuff, guys. Absolutely sublime.
Clark, he's going to start putting on a show now.
And that's usually how it goes. Once they get that lead, it's almost like they give him free rein.
And the highlight reel replay brought to you by Kia. Good stuff on that Kia Slam Cam. It's tipped. McGrady against Hardaway. And he finishes it off with a one-handed jam.
And when the score is as lopsided as it is, and you can see they smell blood in the water, my man is going for the jugular.
And the Mavericks call time here.
And you know what? I think he thinks he can make a few improvements to how things are going on right now.
Yeah, and you know, coaches always are looking for ways to tweak things and change it up a little bit, no matter what the situation is. That's what coaches do.
Moncrief, he's checked in for B. Moncrief against Thompson. To the middle. And pushing it up again is Minnesota. Again in transition. An emphatic alley-oop jam.
I think that play sort of sums up what we've seen throughout. Just simply being outplayed both sides of the ball. Smart basketball defensively turning into quick points.
And that can't continue. I mean, if they hope to get back in this game, I mean, it's really deflating from a morale standpoint. They need stops and points, not turnover.
Hardaway with the steal. Aldridge with a screen on McGrady. Here's Moncrief. No good. And it's the Timberwolves taking it the other way.
And last year, we saw Coach Rick Carlisle pass the 600-win mark. Former Coach of the Year award winner has had so much success here in Dallas. One of many coaches to play for the 80s Celtics.
The Timberwolves shooting their third free throw attempt of the game.
And just to mention, a season ago, they were very comfortable at the line, hitting about 78% of their free throws.
And you can't take those numbers lightly, fellas. I mean, their free throw shooting made a difference for them in a lot of their games last season.
And with Coach Carlisle, he's had great success, Greg, as you're talking about, down in Dallas. Now in his 8th season, he's never finished under 500 with the Mavericks, only finished under 500 once in his whole career. And Clark, he only missed the playoffs twice as a head coach.
Well, we had him in Indiana, and he's fantastic as a basketball coach, and the Mavericks have made it known that he can hang around and coach as long as he'd like to. That's pretty high praise for Rick Carlisle.
Swiped it away. Here's Hawkins. Rebound, Minnesota.
Just a solid performance on the interior. The rebounding has been off the charts.
Yeah, you look across the board, it's actually sizing up, shaping up to be a great game. I mean, strong performances throughout, and they've really been strong on the glass.
And McGrady comes to help. Hawkins with it. Now McGrady defending. Here's Moncrief. Gets the three-pointer to fall. Moncrief's got his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3. From deep. Oh, look out, and then you throw up stuff like that. And you go, oh my, how does it even go in? He pulls a Houdini.
Oh, my goodness.
Hawkins kicks to Aldridge. Takes the 13-footer. The rebound by Johnson. Timberwolves leading by 16. It's Curry outside. It's rebounded by Aldridge. The Mavericks have gone 3 of 8 so far in the third quarter, looking to lock in that rhythm. O'Neal with the rebound. Johnson outside. Back to Curry. O'Neal inside. He's covered by Hawkins. They get it back. Johnson, a wide open look. Great look there, but off target. And here at the end of the third quarter, it's a double-digit ball game. Timberwolves ahead as they end the third quarter with a massive 16-7 run. And we'll get going after this from the American Airlines. And thanks again for joining us. Let's see what happens here in the fourth. Minnesota's gone 5 of 10 from downtown tonight. 50% exactly. And so in the game for the Timberwolves, they've got Klay Thompson. Wilkins is out there with Garnett. Then there's Jermaine O'Neal. And it's Tiny in at the point guard. Outside Hardaway. The shot's good. Roy making the play.
And they've got to talk to each other on D there. Miscommunication. And now he's able to make them pay.
Hardaway against Thompson. The 3-ball. And the shot is good.
You know what, guys? He can really light it up from the perimeter at times.
Mavericks trail by 18. Outside Roy. Outside Hardaway. There's the screen. An easy layup after coming off the pick.
That's really told the story today, guys. I mean, throughout this game, they've been able to get the ball in tight and then finish.
More active and more physical down low. That's what's really been the difference thus far.
He's been one of their more reliable options today, guys. I mean, his shooting has led them to this lead.
Timeout. Start it.
And the Mavericks call time here. And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
Kevin, I was able to listen in on what Rick Carlisle was going over with his team in that last huddle. The strategy included running the offense through B. Coach said the first thing they ball in his hands and letting him lead the way on each and every possession. He also wants his players putting pressure on the defense with early offense, lots of shots, and an aggressive approach in general whenever they've got the ball. Likely the final major changes to their game plan as they try to make a late comeback here in the fourth. Kevin, back to you.
Thanks again, Doris.
Quick hands on the steal and then just mad hops on the slant.
Great sequence for them defensively and Clark offensively.
Well, one usually leads to the other, Kevin. That's just good, aggressive, attacking basketball at both ends.
Here's Aldridge. Yes, and it's Hardaway picking up the assist. Hardaway has got his 5th assist in this one. Timberwolves leading by 12. McGrady dishes to O'Neal. Timberwolves passing it around. That's good. And that's 10 points for Garnett.
Guys, that time he went for the fancy finish for us there, man. That was sweet.
Feeds it to Aldridge. That's good. Basket number 5 on a 5 for 8 night shooting.
And the crisp passing has opened things up for them offensively.
10 straight points off assist. That's very impressive, and it also makes the game easy and fun to watch.
Hawkins checked in for the Mavericks. Minnesota also with the sub. Curry's checked in. We're in the fourth quarter here, just under 2.5 minutes gone. McGrady passes to O'Neal. Back to McGrady. Here's Curry with the 3, and the basket good. And the Timberwolves lead by 15.
And this is what they wanted. I mean, to announce their presence in this matchup with authority, very decisive. It can definitely be considered a statement win for the Timberwolves.
At every opportunity, they managed to push the ball and keep the up-tempo game going.
And that produced great fruit for them in transition.
And it'll go down as their first official win of the new year.
A fantastic show. And what an amazing all-around game it was for Curry. You can't look back at too many major moments in this game and not see his imprint put all over it. Well, you know, they're in the lead, but he's still been frustrated from an offensive standpoint.
Here's Roy, and it's blocked. Dishes it to Aldridge. Goes up again. Aldridge can't get that one to fall. Minnesota with the ball. They led by as many as 18 points. And taken away by Roy. Here's Hawkins. The shot's good. Roy making the play.
Just a great job of attacking on the break.
Yeah, you know, exploding to the basket like that, Greg, just as soon as that ball was going the other way, that's exactly how you want to do it.
They can score it here, but it won't mean much.
No, not at all. Not a real chance of getting back in it at this point.
Greg, you think it's over?
Kevin, turn out the lights. This party's over.
It's a done deal. Forget about it.
It might be. There's 14 seconds left in the game.
And just because you can make it from outside doesn't mean you need to live there.
Not that far out anyway, Greg. I mean, he can work for a better shot than that.
And so they foul intentionally.
Timeout charge to Dallas.
Dallas calls timeout. They're down by 9. 1 second left to play here in the fourth. Tries a three off the inbound. Misses. And so the Timberwolves take the win. And in the win,
Yes, Kevin, thank you. I'm with Klay Thompson. You were able to really help out